Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live from Mindset Monday. I am here, Jonathan Federa, with my co-host Dave Bershio. Dave, what's going on, brother?
Jonathan, I'm great, buddy. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Dude, I'm good. I'm good. Besides one incident that happened this weekend that I may have
Uh-oh.
overreacted a little bit, and I'm owning it, which is will be the theme today. I'm owning it.
Mhm.
That's something that happens. And listen, here's the reality. I'm pretty normal until it involves my kids, and then I'm a fucking lunatic. Okay, and so knowing that and owning it, I got to walk a couple things back this week. Okay. However, being self aware is allowing me to do that. So that's just is what it is. All right. Let's talk about how owning it can help you in your company, right? A lot of people don't get this fact, and I love hearing it on when other people talk about it on podcasts and whatnot, because it's something that eluded me for a really, really long time. All right. And the principle is this: as the owner, or even just the CEO of your life, you own everything, good and bad. Okay. So if you are in a position right now that you don't like, well, guess what? You created that position the last year or 2 years of your life by those activities. All right. Andy likes to say you're not the same person today. Okay. Which is true. All right. You can change a lot in a short period of time, way more than you actually think you can. I'll give you an example. I started 75 hard January 1. Probably day 63 or 64. I got down to 167. That's the lightest I've been since the ninth grade. Now I'm actually going back up, but I'm going back up in a positive way. All right. Those are all things that I was able to change in a short period of time because I owned that I wasn't at my peak level. And I'm still never going to be at my peak level because it's something I'm always chasing. Right. Dave, how do you apply this?
Yeah, man. I think I like to call it the mirror talk, right? The hardest conversation you're going to have is with yourself. And a lot of times people don't want to face that reality. They want to finger point everything, right? Well, I'm broke. Well, it's because of somebody else did this to me, or that girl broke up with me 25 years ago, right? Or I want to do better in business. Well, my employees aren't picking up the slack, right? That's a leadership problem too in and of itself. But we're failing because of my team, or I'm not making enough money because of my team. My kids are this or that. It stems from the top, and people tend to forget that. So for me, and I love what you said about 75 hard to dial it in. I mean, look, man, for that's a 3-year journey for me. And just recently I shifted some time into something else that kind of made sense 3 years later, because it dawned on me, hey man, I'm not maximizing something that I have blocked in my schedule. Well, it's causing me to slack on this side. Well, I need to readjust that or pivot. Right. So I think when you have these conversations with yourself every day, hey, how can I get better? Oh, I screwed up here, man. I got to own it. Hey, we failed on this. I got to own it. We got to do better. It's all about telling yourself and taking those things accountable. You're responsible for your actions and everything you dictate. I'm 20 pounds overweight. Well, it's not McDonald's fault, right? So there's a lot of nuance into that, man, where it just comes down to personal accountability and personal responsibility on top
Yeah.
of it.
And here's the other thing: if you don't own it, no one else will. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're the leader, you're trying to move your team forward, and you are not doing the activities that you need them to do to get better, how can you look at them and say, "Oh, you guys aren't doing it. You're not doing it, motherfucker." All right, you got to be honest with yourself. And for you guys to ever get winning teams, and it's something that right now this is the best team I've had. Okay, we might not have produced the most, but we have per person. Like if you drill it down, all right, we are much more cohesive. There are things that you can pick up on, and if the game or the when once you get to a certain level, the game becomes not just how much you can improve, but how much you can improve everybody around you, right? What are you committed to learning? What are you committing the team to learning? How is that going to help your overall mission? So at a certain point, when you hit a certain level, you're going to plateau, and you plateau until you figure out that the only way I can really get past this is one by some type of technology, or two, by pouring into your team as much as you can to help lift them up and for them to have the type of success that you want. And as if they're having that type of success, if everyone's having that type of success, the team's going to grow, the team's going to do better, and you're going to have a better environment for people to work in. All right. The reason I can speak on this is I am here. Okay. It's taken me a very, very long time to realize that. All right. So now what my focus is on the tech piece and my focus is on the team piece. And I get that this is Mindset Monday, but this is something that is very relevant to me that I am going through now as an operator. And it is hard. It is challenging. However, I know on the other side of this hard and challenging is everything that I fucking want. Okay. Everything that my team deserves. And so I am pushing through it, even though it's not suited around my skill set. My skill set is not hiring. My skill set is not interviewing, right? These are things that I'm having other team members come in and do to try to help. And why? Because I've realized and I own the fact that I am not good at it. There are other people that are much more skilled at it than I am. And I should just be there for the final interview and say yes or no, right? It took me a very long time, more time than I care to admit, especially live. All right. But if I can figure it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah, man. It's always that work in progress, man, to where it's like, okay, like you just said about hiring, getting stuck in a certain point and also not letting go. But like, man, like this has to get done, but I'm not good at it. At least you're owning that you're not good at it. Right. And then finding that person or team member that is good at it. And that's exactly like we talked about my guy who's very good for a position, not because he said himself, I stink at this position. No, you don't, man. That's a limiting belief. Yeah. Your skill set and what you're good at is right there. Yeah. So owning that now and putting that together on that team aspect, man, it's leading from the top. It's owning everything. It's putting it on you. Hey, you're good at this piece. Hey, you're good at that piece. Let's bring this thing together and let's drive that son bitch home.
Right seat, right bus. But here's a big part of that too. For you guys to not go on the fucking Ferris wheel that is hiring, okay? Because if you think about it, the reason why most people stop, the reason why I've stopped in the past is you get so far, you get a team, and then somebody leaves. And then what are you doing? You're backfilling. And it creates this fucking never-ending cycle, right? We're all tired of it. We've all been through it. If you haven't, keep going. You will, I promise. And so what I've done is like when I find somebody that has that skill set, that does something better, make them write out standard operating procedures, SOPs, make them video what they're doing, okay? So what happens is then that skill set stays with you because other people can go and watch that and say, okay, well, this is how it's done. This is the standard. This is how I have to do it. Oh, and I can watch this video. Let me implement that. Why? Because it takes you a lot less time in that fucking hiring Ferris wheel. And what I mean by a Ferris wheel, guys, think about what a Ferris wheel does. It spins around. People at the bottom get off, other people get on, and it goes around. All right. If you feel like you're constantly on that, couple things. One, you have to look in the mirror because I can promise you there are things that you could be doing better as a leader. Two, you better listen when I talk about those SOPs and having everything videoed and written out. And then three, okay, and this is probably what's going to hurt the most. Your culture and your core values are not ingrained in your team. Because if they were, you wouldn't have the Ferris wheel thing going on quite as frequently as you do. All right. And so when you want to grow and scale past that, there are certain things that you have to look internally to find. Otherwise, you might just stay on that Ferris wheel. Now, you might be doing it quicker and you might outpace the Ferris wheel, but that Ferris wheel is still going. All right. You don't want it to be a fucking Ferris wheel, guys. You want everyone to be going on the same 10-mile hike, okay, or 20-mile hike. And instead of miles, it's years, right? Because you build consistency and continuity with that type of team. It'll actually be much easier to implement and make sure your culture is where it is. All right. Those are some of the key pieces to doing that.
Yeah, man. Duplicate everything with those SOPs. I mean, look, if you have those videos, it's amazing. And like those videos, if you have a shortfall or an error in your company, guess what? When everybody's running on that same frequency, a duplicatable system, right? If there is a mistake or something that goes wrong, hey, let's go back. Here's the steps. Where did that happen? Where was that disconnect? Right? Let's own that problem, right? Let's solve it and move forward. And then it just duplicates and you have that cohesiveness throughout the whole team, man.
Exactly. All
Own
right,
it
guys.
together.
This was a good one. Do us a favor, share it with someone that needs to hear it. Leave us a comment, anything. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on Financial Fitness Friday. Take care.
Be great, y'all. Ba-ding-ding-ding-ding.